I'm Janaya. I'm 17 and from Florida, and this week I made my Broadway debut. And here is a story how. So this story starts way back in 2018 when I did my first ever musical. I was in middle school, and that particular year they were doing The Lion King Jr. I loved to sing, wasn't really familiar with acting or dancing or any of that, but I knew I loved singing and I loved music, and so I gave it a shot. I auditioned and I got cast as Rafiki. I loved playing that role. I was in 7th grade and it was my first ever show. And that is when we did The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and I was honored enough to be casted as Esmeralda. Being Esmeralda was an absolute dream. I wasn't expecting to be cast as Esmeralda, considering that it was the first musical that I was being casted in. You know, Esmeralda is more of a dancer. At the time, I didn't consider myself to be a dancer at all, but it took me on a journey, and I'm very, very grateful for that journey. That journey is basically the beginning of how I got to Broadway. In fall of 2021, I performed as Esmeralda, and my school participates in a program, a regional awards program, that nominates students who perform in high school shows to go to the Jimmy Awards, which is the National High School Musical Theater Award. So I actually had no clue about this program because it was my first musical that I was performing in at my school, and I was too focused on getting everything that I was doing right to focus on any of the long-term outcomes of the show that I was doing. I had no clue about the program that was associated with my school. The program that's associated with my school is called Broadway Star of the Future. It's a super, super, super amazing regional awards program for schools in Central and North Florida, and my school got nominated for Best Musical, and a bunch of my peers and fellow castmates got nominated for awards as well. I had no clue how to react or what to do. Getting a nomination was really unexpected, considering that, like I said, it was my first show. I was a lead and low-key had no clue what I was doing. It was really rewarding, especially considering all the work that my school's director had put in it and all the work that we put in it as a cast. So it was really rewarding, but I wasn't really expecting anything else to come out of it, considering that at the time I wasn't really that proud of my performance, and I had a lot more insecurities in my performance skills at that time than I do now. The nominations were announced in late November, and then we fast forward all the way to May of 2022, this year, where they announced the winners. So I was fortunate enough to win and make top 10 finalists for my regional program, and I was absolutely stunned. It was really surreal. I didn't know how to process or how to go through with any of this, but thankfully my school really guided me and helped me a lot with the things that I needed to do, how I needed to prepare, and they really set me up for success. And they prepared me so well that I guess I won my regional program. It seems like everything happened so fast, but from the time that I did the production and the time that I found out I had won had been about 6 months. So they announced the winners at the ceremony we did, and I'll insert a few clips here. God help the outcast, hungry from birth, show them mercy, they don't find on earth. God help.
2022 Broadway Star of the Future performers are Janaya McAllister.
As you can tell in the video, I was out of it. I broke down in tears, and I was absolutely humbled and grateful. Those were probably the most prominent feelings in that moment for me. I just didn't know how someone like me with barely any experience compared to those around me had got to this point and could win such a prestigious regional program like Broadway Star of the Future that celebrates high school performers and the things they do. It was really rewarding knowing that all of the ups and downs and highs and lows of the journey that I had within those 6 months were even more valuable and more worth it. Throughout the time this year, I feel like I've really been on a road of gaining confidence in who I am as a performer and a person. So it was a huge question for me at the time if musical theater is something that I want to continue or if I just wanted to leave it in the past after I graduated high school. I didn't feel like this was where I belonged. And receiving that award from Broadway Star of the Future really just flipped the switch for me. It really opened my eyes to, number one, the amount of people who supported me and believed in me. There were so many of my friends and my peers and my teachers and my family who came to Broadway Star of the Future's showcase and supported us. And it was absolutely amazing to see, and it was such a good feeling. And right after they announced that, time started moving by like crazy, and the next day we had to film our first preliminary Jimmy auditions. So the winners were announced on Sunday, May 22nd, and we were filming Jimmy auditions on Monday, the 23rd. As soon as I got to school, I was learning the audition dance, choreographed by Keisha Lalama. And I was learning it in my dance class, during my dance class. And I was in the dance studio trying to get it. Had the video on replay, I was playing the music, and I was just trying to get it in my head so that I would be prepared to film it for the Jimmys later that day. And I learned it during class, and I had to check out early at school to head back to the Strass Center and film my audition. So that was a super fast process. It was surreal. I know I keep using that word, but that's how a lot of these moments along this way felt. Surreal. That's just the best way that I can describe it. We finished filming our auditions. They took about between 2 and 3 hours. And then after that, it was time to send everything to the staff at the Jimmys so they could see which group we were best fit for and which group they felt we would thrive in and learn from the most and gain the most experience and knowledge from. Then a few weeks later, it was time to start getting ready for the Jimmys, start packing. We had a parent meeting with the staff and with all the nominees, and they gave us an itinerary for the week, everything we needed, all the resources we would need for the week and the week before. And I definitely took way too many notes, but then again, there's no such thing as too many notes. You can never be over-prepared, you know? A few days later, it was time for me to start packing. It was just a bunch of stuff correlated to the Jimmys that I had to organize and get in order so that I could still focus on these things like press releases, news interviews, things like that, while also still having my head in the game and ready for the Jimmys and the things that were going to be taking place the week of. I was working on audition material. I got to have one little quick chat with my acting teacher before I left, and he gave me some great advice to make sure that I was the best I could be and as prepared as I could be for the Jimmys and the auditions we had there in the week that I was going to be there. So I was super thankful that he took time out of his summer to talk to me and give me some last minute advice before I left. I had a Juneteenth performance that weekend, but due to dangerous weather, it got canceled. For those who don't know, I do play the bass, and I had never played in front of a large audience, but that Juneteenth performance, I was going to make my debut as a singer and bass player, but the weather said no, so I just rolled with the punches and came home and got a head start on my packing. And the next day, it was time for me to fly out, and it was really surreal. It was my first time on an airplane. I had never been on an airplane before, and it was also my first time going to New York. That was the first day of the Jimmys. We had orientation, got to meet the staff, got to meet the amazing Van Kaplan and Keisha Lalama. So I was just over the moon. It was super, super cool. We started learning the opening number of music the night that we got there because we were all so excited, just ready to get started. We had dinner and it was super awesome. They treat us like Broadway performers and like Broadway stars. So of course we got our equity breaks throughout, and they never over-rehearsed us or overworked us. This is one thing that I feel like makes the Jimmy Awards the Jimmy Awards, because they treat all of their nominees like stars. They were always making sure we were okay health-wise, physically, mentally, emotionally, and they all put their absolute most into making sure that all 92 of us nominees were treated the best that we could possibly be treated, and had the best week that we could have. Everyone that I've talked to from this week agrees with me on the fact that we had the absolute best week of our lives. Throughout the rehearsal days, we always had breaks throughout. We had breaks that aligned with the policies of the actors' equity policies and things like that. So the day of the performance, we woke up, had breakfast, and then it was time for us to head to the Minskoff Theater, which is where our performance was taking place. The Minskoff Theater is the theater that the now Lion King musical takes place at. And for me, that was really a full circle moment for me. My first musical that I ever did was The Lion King Jr., like I said earlier in the video. And just walking onto that stage, I was in awe of everything, and I was taking in all that I was seeing and everyone's energy around me, and it was, I could cry talking about it right now. It was just an absolutely amazing moment in my life that I will cherish and keep with me forever. I will always consider that moment to be the first and most valuable full circle moment in my life that I've had so far. And it was just the moment where I thought, I started off here in middle school in Lion King Jr., and now I'm here on Broadway on the Lion King stage, about to make my Broadway debut with all of these amazingly talented people, learning from these legendary and experienced choreographers, directors, everything. So fast forward, after we ate, had rehearsal, and all of those things, it was time for the Jimmy Awards on Broadway. And we were all freaking out in the best way possible. Having that audience there at the Minskoff and having their energy just flow to us and allowing us to give it back was one of the greatest feelings ever, and all of us could feel it, and it was such a great moment for us all. And being called as a semifinalist and a top 8 actress out of the 92 nominees that were there, it was absolutely insane. I'm still learning, I'm still growing, and to be recognized on a Broadway stage for the work that I put in, the dedication that I have towards this craft was just so rewarding. And I'm so grateful for that, and I'm so grateful to have been able to perform for Broadway casting directors and agents and performers, and it was just so cool to know that these huge, legendary, important, influential people know my name and think that I'm talented. It was just so cool. As soon as I walked into that stage that night, and I could see the audience and see the lights and feel the energy and feel the glow of the lights, I knew that this is where I'm meant to be. I'm meant to be on the stage. I'm meant to be in front of audiences. I'm meant to share my voice with the world. And it was such a refreshing revelation for me. And I'm so grateful for this experience. And again, thank you to everyone who has supported me throughout this experience. I'm so appreciative of all the love and support you guys have been sending me. I really do, and I can't say it enough. And I'm so grateful to have you all in my life, and I hope you can continue to follow me on this journey. I do plan on pursuing musical theater as a career now. Right now, I'm in the process of continuing and beginning Broadway auditions, film auditions, things like that. And a lot of opportunities and doors have been opening, and it's just been life-changing. And I'm so glad I got to have this experience and do it with amazing people, you know. So again, thank you all. If you're watching this video, I'm so glad I got to share this with you. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook. And thank you for your time, for your love, for your support, for your energy. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.